Well, hey everyone, and welcome back to Get Your Geek On's Marvel Cinematic Universe Retrospective Review. I'm Robert, that's Aaron, and we're here to talk to you movie by movie through the MCU's Infinity Saga, 23 movies over 11 years.
Expect spoilers, guys, as we go through each movie, but we'll let you know whether we feel any movie's essential for the overall arc of the MCU. Think of this as your guide into getting into the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a couple of filler movies out there, although if you're a completionist like us, maybe you'll say they're all essential. You can't skip any.
No,
never. We actually haven't said that.
No. Skip half of them. Don't worry about it.
All right, so we're in March of 2019. We're 7 weeks away from Avengers Endgame, but first, Captain Marvel. The movie made $153 million opening weekend and $1.1 billion over its run. Brie Larson plays the powerful hero and is joined by Jude Law as Jan Rog, Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, and Samuel L. Jackson returns as Nick Fury. It was directed by Ryan Fleck and Anna Boden, who is Marvel's first female director, and is also Marvel's first solo film centered on a female character. It also stands out to me as the last origin story of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so is this movie essential?
You know, I still don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I mean, it gives you... Because at this point, we've seen Infinity War. Mm-hmm. We've seen the post-credit scene.
Which is just the pager with the logo. So that's all we get.
And that's all this movie references.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree with you that if you're just looking to watch the Infinity Saga and you want to know, okay, what do I need to watch in order for Infinity War and Endgame to make the most sense or do all those things? Like, you don't have to watch this one.
No,
you can. It enhances it, I would say, like many of the other movies, but it's not essential. There really is very little in this movie that has any sort of major impacts. And I think, when you're talking about the character of Captain Marvel, the way that they introduce her in Endgame and they show off her powers very quickly. Yeah. I don't think that this movie does anything that says, oh, I don't get that unless I watch this movie.
No.
So even though, again, this is another movie that enhances it, but I would not say it is essential.
It doesn't even explain her haircut. It doesn't even explain that.
No. Well, that happens in Endgame, by the way.
It does.
It happens in the jump. So, yeah. All right. So going into this movie, I remember... outside expectations. I remember that people were excited. Obviously, whenever there's, a movie made, whether it's by female creators or it's about the female perspective or it doesn't even always have to be that. It can be, whether it's, about black people or really any minority. There's always some kind of pushback to it, though they're pushing the left agenda or the female agenda, blah, blah, blah. And so there was certainly that. But I also remember that this generated a lot of excitement. Wonder Woman had come out just a couple of years before, and to great acclaim. I think people really, really loved Wonder Woman. I'm one of them. And so this was another one that, this is now the MCU's first female movie. And I remember, of course, part of that, there was some pushback on Marvel. Like, DC... for all of their flaws, got to their Wonder Woman movie pretty quickly, and knocked it out of the park. Like, why did it take you so long to make this movie? But people were excited for it. It made over $1 billion, so people were excited for it. I will say that I don't remember having conversations with anyone and they were going like, oh, I can't wait for Captain Marvel to come out. Yeah. Everyone was kind of like, I can't wait for Endgame to come out and we get to see Captain Marvel too. Yeah. Like, that's what I remember.
Same. It felt like more of a filler. Kind of like that filler episode in an anime. It's like, I really want to see the end of the fight, but I have to watch this. But I'll wait.
It's almost like you've got, the season finale is in 2 weeks. Yeah. And it's like, we've still got stuff to get through in this next episode. And it's my favorite show, so I want to watch it. But I can't wait for the finale. Like that's kind of that feeling that we got from this, which I think is really unfortunate for this movie.
It really is.
Because it gets caught in that, everyone was more looking forward to Endgame than this. Personally, I remember I was really looking forward to how were they going to introduce Captain Marvel? How are they going to bring in a character this late who's this powerful?
Yeah.
And so I was interested to see how they were going to do that. And I was also really excited for the cast. I think Brie Larson's really good, Jude Law, Annette Bening, Ben Mendelsohn, and returning we had, Samuel Jackson, and then small little roles from old familiar faces like Clark Gregg coming back as Agent Coulson. We had Djimon Hounsou coming back. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy as one of Ronan's minions, and Ronan is back. Lee Pace is back as well. So it was kind of cool to get some old faces from previous MCU movies thrown into this movie that's set in the 90s.
Yeah.
So personally, we talked about kind of those public expectations. What do you remember personally?
I mean, personally, I was kind of with it because I like her from the comics. I love Captain Marvel from the comics and how she's portrayed. And I wasn't sure how I felt about it because I was like, well, I don't know if I hadn't seen anything with Brie Larson before. So to me, it was like an unknown actress for me. You
hadn't seen Scott Pilgrim?
Who's she in Scott Pilgrim? I have
she's the...
Is she Renova
Envy.
Flowers?
Oh, no, Envy? She's Envy. She's the previous...
yes,
the ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
See, I don't remember her that well in that one.
Man.
I love the movie. I love Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. One of my favorites. But yeah, I was kind of like, okay, this is a random actress. And I know on my end, because I do have a lot of, friends that love politics. And a lot of them are bashing, like you said, the whole agenda and this and that. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. It's a movie. It's a Marvel movie. That's all I care about. Samuel Jackson's in it, which I love Samuel Jackson.
Of course.
I've said that a million times.
Yeah.
So I was up in the air about it, honestly.
Okay.
I was more wanting the Endgame movie.
Yeah.
I was ready for that last movie.
Yeah.
So that's where I was.
I think we all were. And honestly, in this movie, I remember the first time I saw it, I remember walking out feeling like it was good, but I was a little bit let down. I was a little bit disappointed. But, it was one of those where, and we'll talk about this more, again, I think it fell into the trap because of when it was released.
Exactly.
So what about you the first time you saw it? Similar feelings?
Very similar. Very much like, the first run through, I hated Samuel Jackson's character. I hated the way they did Nick Fury.
Okay.
After reading 20 years of comics at this point, I've hated Nick Fury because that's not my Nick Fury kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Hashtag not my Nick Fury.
I mean, he was early career Nick Fury.
He's always the guy that you go to though in the comics.
Okay.
So I was kind of like with his character, and I felt after leaving it that I was missing something. Okay. I remember like watching it. I love Jude Law's performance. I love Brie Larson's performance. I think she did well.
Yeah, and we'll get into all of that here in just a minute. But that first kind of feeling, it was just, disappointed. Okay.
I mean, I even said going into this, I was like, watching this movie.
Yeah, this was the one you really didn't want to rewatch, right?
Not at all.
Well, we're gonna find out if he enjoyed it on the rewatch. But before that, we're gonna get into the quick plot here. Veers is a Kree warrior who only has memories from the last 6 years. And on a mission with her Kree team that is led by Yon-Rogg, she is captured by Talos, the leader of an alien shape-shifting race called Skrulls. And they awaken memories in her that really don't make sense. And after her escape, she is stranded on Earth and teams up with a young Nick Fury. They discover that she had a life here as an Air Force pilot named Carol Danvers and was working with a Kree scientist named Mar-Vell. In a twist, Mar-Vell was working alongside the Skrulls to protect them as refugees from the Kree Empire and using the Tesseract to help them find a new home, safe from Kree. So teaming up with her old wingman, Maria Rambeau, Captain Marvel, Fury, and Talos now fight with Yon-Rogg and his team, defeat them, retrieve the Tesseract. Captain Marvel leaves with the Skrulls to help them find a new home and leaves Fury with a way to contact her only in emergencies and also only one eye. So, that's the movie. So what stands out to you, especially on this rewatch? What stood out to you, both positive or negative?
Positive. I think I liked her performance a little bit more in this one.
Okay, yeah.
Because the first time I watched it, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I think Jude Law stuck out a little bit more for me in this one. Mm-hmm. And those were my pros. Cons, I didn't like Samuel Jackson's character.
Wow, that was quick.
I'm just going to quick that.
Quick on the pros.
Because it's...
Well, I want to talk a little bit more.
Okay.
I want to talk about Jude Law. Because I think that he gives a really outstanding performance.
Solid.
Playing that... Like, he's charismatic, but you can always tell he's hiding something.
Yes.
He's always kind of keeping something back. Mm. And so I like that, it really wasn't a major twist that he turned out to be the villain, because you could kind of see that throughout the movie. Yeah. But I really like the way he played it. I think he's a really good actor, and so like you understand why he kind of has that influence over Veers, as he calls her, because he does have that charismatic side to him. He does have that kind of like mentor almost kind of side to him, but you can always tell that he's kind of holding something a little bit back, and so I really like him, and I think the acting in this movie is pretty good all across the way.
I'll give you that.
And I would say the other acting standout for me is Lashana Lynch as Maria Rambo, and her daughter, and I don't remember the name of the actress,
I don't remember her name either.
but the two of them are fantastic.
Oh yeah, they're lovely. I love their parts. I love when they come out. I think that's one of my favorite times in the movie is when she's in there. Yeah, and I love that the scene where it's like she doesn't want to go to space when they comment on that. I think that's my favorite parental scene, because it's like, yeah, she wants to do it, but I have a kid, I got a family I got to think about. Right. And then I love the kid's reaction. But mom, how is this going to be? What is it? A good influence or something?
You got to set an example for me.
For me, don't
it's great. Yeah,
I love it. It was a good debate right there.
Yeah. And I love that little character, that little girl, because there's at one point where I think Nick Fury says something along the lines to her where like she doesn't know how to do this or something, and she's like, well, maybe I'll do that when I grow up, like I'll discover that or something like that. Like it's, I think they're talking about like the light speed engine, like traveling faster than light or something, and she's like, well, maybe I'll invent that, and it's just like, I like this kid, like she's got that moxie to her, like it's good.
I really hope they touch on her later, like,
well, and now that they've already said that I believe, and I don't remember the actress's name because it's going to be played by a different actress. In I believe it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. There is Monica Rambeau, who's the daughter, who does become a hero in Marvel Comics. I'm trying to remember what.
Does she become the other Marvel?
I think she becomes another Marvel. I think she becomes like a not Ms. Marvel, because that's Kamala Khan. Yeah. But I think it's some sort of. It's related to the Captain Marvel, and so she does become a hero, and so I believe she is going to be in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. But yeah, I think from an acting standpoint, they stand out for sure.
They do. I'll give you that.
And so, we'll close with some positives for me. We can go on to your negatives. So go ahead, go with some of your negatives.
I don't like the storyline for Nick Fury. I think that they went a little too goofy with it.
Okay.
Now, I do say I like some of the call-outs to that goofiness, like where Bree puts the hat on and she goes, you guys put your logo on everything? Yeah. Like, that's true. You're supposed to be this secret organization, and here's the SHIELD logo on the hat I hand you. And it's just like, that's true. Mm-hmm. So I like that they kind of point out some of his goofiness. Yeah. I've never liked Samuel Jackson or Nick Fury being a goofy kind of person. He's always been that serious person. I do like that they comment that he was a colonel. They kind of go over his career, which we never really hear about until this movie.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I will give a pass on that too, his demeanor, is because he's literally just had his world flipped upside down. Yeah, aliens exist and they can change their forms, like, and to make them look like us.
Don't get me started on scrolls.
Again, it's I understand it's not comic accurate and all of those things, but that's I mean, Nick Fury has always used humor in the Avengers movies. He's made jokes. I mean, there's that great line he has in the first Avengers movies where they're like, "We've given you the order," but given it's a stupid ass order, I've elected not to.
I mean, and that's true.
So he's kind of always had that
heavily there, maybe.
But yeah, he does veer a little bit too far goofy.
I mean, the cat scene. Come on.
I agree. Everything with the Flurkin, because it's not a cat. I don't like any of it. I don't like that it's played with, Talos being like, stay away from me. Yeah. I don't like Nick Fury like fawning over it, like, oh my God, it's such a cute cat. And like, I think
you said it off camera though. How they tied the line, he said, to this.
The eye thing,
I would say that's
so frustrating.
It's so frustrating. Like that's the thing to it.
Yeah, because if you remember your MCU like I do, there is that line in the Winter Soldier where he says, "The last time I trusted someone, I lost an eye," and then in this movie, right after there's a scene where he, where the flurkin reveals itself.
Yeah,
and it like kills some people. And he has to pick it back up, and he says, "Now I'm trusting you, not to attack me or eat me." I think he says, "I'm trusting you not to eat me."
Yeah.
And and then it's like a few scenes later, and they play with his eye the whole movie.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
There's,
you think it's
there's like
happen.
a car crash where he gets in, and you think he's, he gets like an injury right above his eye. Like there's all these things where you're like, oh, are we going to see him lose his eye?
Yeah. It's like, when is it? When is it?
And then the cat just randomly. Like it's not like
provoked.
It's unprovoked completely. He's just holding it, and the cat just like scratches him in the eye.
Yeah.
And
it's getting better. I promise. And then
it's so frustrating.
The scroll's like, no, it's not.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
That whole part killed it, I think, for me. Like I was like, okay, I can deal with it. I can do it. Nope. And then you said it off camera with the line. It's like, oh my gosh, that's how they're tying this. Yeah. This is ridiculous.
It's so dumb.
So, but I mean, otherwise, the only other con I have is like I feel she's going to suffer from the Superman complex.
She's very overpowered.
Yes.
And you see it in this movie, and you see it in Endgame too.
And exactly. And that's why I say she's going to suffer from that. So if you don't know what I mean by Superman complex, it means that there's nothing in the universe that can really stop them. And you almost have to always have a world-ending event for something to be good for them. But eventually what happens is you can only do that so much before people just lose interest.
Yeah.
And she's already done it twice. And now it's getting to that point. Is it going to lose interest? Like, how do you put her so powerful? Who can stand up to her besides a god now at this point? Yeah,
and I mean it's gonna be interesting to see, because obviously, we have the cosmic threat. She was basically, and we'll get to it when we get to Endgame.
Yeah.
She basically goes toe to toe with Thanos when he doesn't have the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
Now when he has them, he's able to overpower her.
Yeah.
But he's one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she went toe to toe with him with no problem.
Yeah. Nothing at all. There's no
so
threat.
She is extremely powerful, which, again, I trust Kevin Feige and Marvel with a character like that. But it does concern me a little bit. So one other thing that is a little bit negative for me, and I'm surprised you didn't bring it up because this is right up your alley, is the special effects of the de-aging. Some of them work really well, and other times it like,
you can tell.
The stuff with Nick Fury, I think, is mostly good. There's a few things that are off. The stuff with Clark Gregg is really bad.
Oh,
like,
God.
That stands out really bad.
Does.
And so, it's one of those technologies. It's really hard. But if you're gonna do it, like, you don't have to put Coulson in this movie.
No, you didn't.
But if you're going to, make him look better than he did. Because it just doesn't look good.
And that's the thing. Like, I know 3D effects, you need to have bright light to look really amazing, which is why Avatar does well, because it has a lot of lights there. So I don't know if the facial technology, I want to look that up, but I don't know if it needs certain lighting, if that's why, like, maybe it doesn't look good on Coulson, because at some points he's like in like a shadowy spot, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and they've nailed it in short scenes before, like Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Oh my gosh,
that was like pulled from the
Michael
80s.
Douglas in the Ant-Man movies. Like they have very like. But those are also actors that have a very long history of working, and so they have that template from the 80s and 90s. Clark Gregg, I don't know that they have that footage that they can go back.
It's like an old
25 years. So maybe that plays into it too. I don't know. Maybe,
and I know I've commented before on the other ones. Like, I liked it, and I've thrown shade at this movie with that before. Like, the de-aging is off.
Yeah.
And the only other thing, and I get it, Samuel Jackson's an older man, but there are some scenes where he's running, which I'm thinking it's him. But you could tell he's old.
Yeah.
And I'm not bashing Samuel Jackson, because he probably could still beat me up one day. But like the scene where he's in the vault and he's kind of like running down the hall, like, you could tell that's probably Samuel L. Jackson actually running. And it's like, why didn't you get like a stunt double and shoot from a different angle so you can get him like, okay, running like a normal 30-year-old man, 40-year-old man? It's a little bit off. And I will say the storyline of this movie, until they team up with the Rambos, I think I'm mostly bored. I was.
Like,
I'll give you that.
At that point, I really like what happens, and that twist with the Skrulls being revealed as just kind of refugees, and then you get Ben Mendelsohn, as Talos, and he's kind of like their conversation is a lot of fun, and I think he's a good character, and so I think that from that point forward, I like the movie, but a lot of the exposition, a lot of the earlier setup and stuff, I'm mostly bored. Like, I really just don't care for it. I will say, I think that there's a couple of other things that I think stand out in a positive way.
Okay.
I think the way that they do the shape shifting, I think is cool.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like, that technology is cool.
Yes.
And then
I do like the scene real quick, touching on that, where they both turn into the swimsuit girl.
Yeah.
And he's like, this one's taken.
This one's taken. Although it's weird because for that brief moment, he still has his old voice, but every other time they change into a character, they have a different voice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
The theory could be is that he never heard her voice, so he didn't know how to change his vocal cords to match hers.
I guess so. I don't know.
That's the only thing I could give it.
I don't know. And then, though, there is one scene in this movie, and I know it's cliche and it's supposed to like all this, but I don't care. I like it.
Okay.
The scene where she's in the with the Kree Supreme Intelligence at the end, where like Annette Bening there, and like the music's playing, and like she knows that they're evil at this point, and they're trying to like trap her and keep her depowered, and they're basically running through all the times that she's failed, and like she fell down off the rope, or she crashed the go-kart, or she broke her arm, or all this stuff. She gets the pitch thrown at her in baseball, all this stuff. It's all those times that she falls down, but she always gets back up, and it's like, and so when it flips that of just not showing just her failures, but also showing that I'm gonna rise above it, I'm gonna rise to the challenge, I'm gonna get back up, I'm gonna dust myself off, and I'm gonna succeed. And even though it's cliche, I think it works. I think it's a really cool scene, and it culminates with her basically overpowering the Supreme Intelligence, becoming the powerful Captain Marvel that she is, and then she just kind of kicks butt from that point forward, destroys Kree warships.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I do love that kind of end line where it's her and Yanrog kind of having that face off, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Indiana Jones, where he's like, all right, show it to me, show me what you got, now show me you can beat me, and she's just like, whatever, it's just like blast him, and it's kind of like that Indiana Jones, like with the guy with the sword, he's like doing all this, and Indy's just like,
doesn't he just shoot him right? And that's it?
He just shoots him. I kind of like that, and she's I don't have anything to prove to you.
And I like that scene. I think like you said, that fits perfectly. Even though it's cliche, we need to have her overcome this emotional thing, that because like you said, the last 6 years he's been telling her suppress. Right. So we need to have that moment where she remembers what it's like to be human. Yeah. We fall down, we get back up.
Absolutely.
And I did love that scene, actually, like you said, as cliche as it is, because she needed that push for her to get over this emotional suppression that they keep teaching her.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought it was a good sell. I do like that fight scene, because I was wondering, are they gonna do a whole nother fight scene, because she's already OP. They've already showed that.
Yeah.
So I did like that it was more of a, you're a fly to me, and it just knocks him out and sends him back to the Kree homeworld. Yeah.
Which is good, because we'll get to see him again.
Exactly. Jude Law's going to come back, which we need that. Again though, I think it's a good movie. I do want to say that it is a good movie to watch. Yeah. Especially we both have daughters. I think it's a good movie for them. My kiddo loves Captain Marvel, everything Captain Marvel right now, and I support that because I do love it. But at the same time,
and as we talked about, it suffers from being released right before Endgame.
Exactly.
It was also released after Infinity War. And I think that, I called it out at the beginning that this is the last origin story of the MCU. Right. And most of the origin stories that we got were phase one. We got Iron Man, we got Captain America, we got Thor. Hulk, the Incredible Hulk wasn't really an origin story, but we got those three in phase one. Yeah. And in phase 2, we got like Guardians of the Galaxy. And then, they didn't really do an origin story for Spider-Man. They kind of just, plucked him in. Like he's already Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yes, he's got to grow and he's got to mature, but he's not really,
We didn't have to spend 30, 40
we
minutes
did get an origin story of Ant-Man. But really, plucking in or plopping in an origin story at this point, it felt clunky.
Yeah.
It felt like there were moments that felt very fan servicey.
Yeah.
Like the eye thing, or like the the Avengers Initiative being named after her call sign, where she was Carol, the Avenger Danvers. Like, and that's fine if that had been stuff that was revealed in phase 1.
Yeah.
Like that would be cool, but now it's like, I don't need that. Like, exactly. I don't need to know that the Avengers Initiative was named after Captain Marvel. Like, I don't need that. And so it's just like there's stuff that it's just kind of like, oh man, it feels like they're relying a little bit too much on history, on trying to fill in gaps, trying to and it's like that wasn't a gap that anyone cared about. And if you're gonna give me the story of Nick Fury losing his eye, it better be cooler than what they give us. Because I really,
I hated that.
Anyways, I think that overall, this movie, it suffers from when it was released.
For sure.
Because to me, this is like a perfectly fine phase 1 movie.
Yeah.
Like, it would fit in perfectly with, Captain America, the First Avenger, Thor, the first 2 Iron Men. It fits right in that time frame in terms of quality of movie. It's just that, unfortunately, we've gotten a lot of other movies since then, including, the Avengers movies, Infinity War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, Civil War, like all of these really, really high quality superhero movies where it's like, if we had gotten Captain Marvel 15 years ago, it would have been one of the best superhero movies ever made. Yeah. And now it's like, it's like in the top 30.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's because we've gotten so many good ones since then. And I think it also suffers from being released after Wonder Woman, because I think Wonder Woman's a better movie than Captain Marvel. Another very overpowered character. Mm-hmm. But I think that movie is a much stronger movie, despite the third act problems that exist in that movie too. I think that I much prefer that movie over a Captain Marvel, and because it's not essential to the Infinity Saga, I don't know how many times I'm gonna watch this one. Yeah, like it's fine. I don't dislike it. Yeah, but it's not as great as I want it to be.
It's going to be, you'll probably watch it 1 or 2 more times when your kid was older, and then that's about it. Or maybe when she wants to watch all these movies, you'll watch it again.
Absolutely.
And more than likely, you'll watch it first to knock it out, maybe? Or would you watch it in the order it came out?
No, I wouldn't watch it in the order it came out. That's one of those things is I will never... After this, I will never watch Ant-Man and Wasp or Captain Marvel in between Infinity War and Endgame.
No, not at all.
Because it completely breaks it up. Like... we did it for this because we were doing them in release order, but it absolutely breaks it up. Like, I want to go straight into Endgame right after Infinity War.
And I think that's the other problem, like the release date and when it came out from the series, and the fact that everybody wants Endgame. Yep. We don't want to see fillers. We don't want to see the rest of the stuff in between. We want to know everyone's dead. Now what? Yep. Like, what are our heroes going to do? So, because Ant-Man isn't even in this one at all. In Infinity War. He's not even in it. Right. So it's like, why do I care what he's
It's like a parallel doing? Story. Yeah. But really only in the post-credits scene.
Yeah. Like, that's it.
So
it's like, okay.
All right. So we've talked about this movie. So the Infinity Saga, it does tie in a little bit. We've got the Tesseract again playing a big role. Mm-hmm. That's played a big role in several of the Marvel movies now. And, of course, technically at the end, we do get the Avengers Initiative being named after her. And we get the little pager, that she gives to him for only in emergencies.
Why the Tesseract was there even? Because we lost it after Captain America, right?
So there's still a big gap between when it goes down with the ship with Captain America, the First Avenger, until, Marvel has it in this movie. Mm-hmm. So in between, 1945 and like mid 90s, we don't know where the Tesseract is. We know that they were looking for it. Howard Stark was searching for it at the end of it, but I don't believe we ever like found out that he had it.
Okay.
And then from this point forward, it's in Shield control up until the Avengers.
Loki. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because Loki gets it, doesn't he?
Well, I'm trying to wait. I'm thinking back now because in Endgame, don't they have to go back and get it from a Shield facility in like the 70s? Because that's where Tony Stark interacts with his dad.
They screw up in
New York.
New York. So they go further back to like the 60s or 70s.
It's like the 70s, yeah.
And it's sitting in a vault there.
Yeah.
So then how does it still
So they do have it there. So maybe because it is a Shield research facility that Marvel was working at. So maybe it's been in Shield control that whole time. Maybe they picked it up after Captain America.
Yeah.
That might be it.
But still, we don't know how they got it. But anyway, I was just trying to figure out because I thought
they might have found it in the ocean.
That's true.
Because they do mention that they found the heat signature.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I need to watch that movie again because they might even show them fishing it out of the ocean.
I don't remember.
And then they say because the signature or the energy signature ends here, and that's when he says keep looking for the wreckage. Yeah. So I think maybe they find it.
So maybe that's the royal line. That
maybe you're gonna have to cut all this out because
now
because now I just remembered I'm fairly certain they have it.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, guys.
All right,
go watch our MCU retrospect review to let us know what we said.
Final thoughts and rating. Aaron, go.
Final thoughts. Going into this, I wasn't excited rewatching the movie. Yeah. I'll say that. But now that I have rewatched it, I actually don't mind rewatching it.
Yeah.
I think it was a good one. My kiddo sat down with me and we watched it, and maybe that's what made the experience a little bit better, having her there with me. I recommend still watching it. Again, not maybe not best placement. Don't watch it the way we did so far, but I would say a solid 7 out of 10 for this one for me. Yeah. And again, the graphics aren't great because the de-aging technology is not that great.
Yeah, that's really the only part that doesn't look great. I mean, the rest of it I think looks really good. Whether it's the explosions or the scrolls look really good. The when she's powered up, that stuff looks good. The stuff with Supreme Intelligence, I think it all.
Supreme Intelligence actually bothers me a little.
Okay,
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
I don't know.
I think it's fantastic.
It looks good, but something about it always throws me off. Maybe it's just the lighting on it.
Maybe you're just freaking about. You don't want to be controlled by the Supreme Intelligence.
That could be it too. That could be it. I already want to fight it. I'm like, let's go fight toe to toe. I mean, I do like the scene where like all the tentacles are like running up her when they have her tied down and they're glowing. Like that's cool looking.
Yeah.
So, but I give it 7 out of 10 because again, the story's a little weak to me because again, I'm okay with Nick Fury. Mm-hmm. I don't like some of the comedy stuff. Maybe it's just too much.
Yeah.
Again, maybe he needed a stunt double to do some of his stunt work. The cat thing though, the cat thing brings it down so much right there because it's like no.
Yeah.
No.
So I think we're pretty similar. I enjoy this movie. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I think that the story is definitely it's weak for at least the first half. I think it picks up and gets stronger. I do like a lot of the characters. Some of the humor is it's some of it's really funny.
And some of it's crap.
And some of it's not very good at all.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it is. It's good.
Yeah.
I think it's. Again, we talked about why it suffers. Some of the suffers that it does, and why. So maybe if you watch it, if this is one of the first MCU movies you watch, it probably will play a lot better. And you probably will enjoy it a lot more. And the other thing is we're two dudes talking about a movie that's about a female superhero. And so I know my wife really likes this movie.
Like I said, my kiddo loves it.
And so, that's certainly something to keep in mind as well. That we got 20 other movies that are made for us. Maybe this one, was made for my wife, and she really enjoyed it. But my final score for Captain Marvel, I'm going to give it a 6.8. So I'm slightly below you.
Yeah.
I think it's still a good movie. It's just not great. It's just not at that next level that I would like it to be. It kind of falls right around the same place as, Thor, which I really like. I think that's a really good movie. But it also came out in 2011, and this was 8 years later in the same arc, and you're going, we've kind of progressed past this.
Exactly.
But, it's a good movie.
It is.
It's not a great movie. Those are our thoughts. We want to know what you think, so drop that in the comments. Give this video a like, subscribe to our channel. Let us know if we're crazy. Maybe this is the best movie in the MCU, or maybe you think it's the worst movie in the MCU. Let us know. We want to hear your thoughts. And as always, guys, stay geeky. Next video, we made it.
What are we at?
Avengers Endgame.
I thought Ant-Man and Wasp.
No, we already did Ant-Man and Wasp.
Did we?
We're on Avengers Endgame, bro.
I don't have to wait anymore.
We're there.
I can go straight to.
We made it.
I can do it.
We made it.
I can do it. I'll probably get copyright strike for this, but I don't care. Because we did. You're right.
We made it. So tune in next time, guys, for Avengers Endgame, where we will discuss the culmination of the MCU. For Aaron, I'm Robert. Get your geek on, and we'll talk to you later, guys.